Hello and welcome back to Quarterlight. Today we're going to look at a small Italian classic car, the Fiat Panda. The Fiat Panda came out in Italy in February 1980, and in the UK it came out in May 1981. It was designed by Giugiaro and Mantovani, and it came under the design name Zero. Really, the design principle at the time was very much to make a container, a very simple, basic utilitarian vehicle that would cost no more than a Fiat 126. And it ran in the first generation phase until 1986. That very utilitarian design philosophy was very similar to the beginnings of like the Renault 4 and the Renault 2CV, a utilitarian cheap people's vehicle just to move people and articles around the country at the minimum of cost. And I think to a large degree it did achieve that design philosophy. After it was named Zero in the design phase, they came up with various names. They was going to call it the Rustica, which is a terrible name for a Fiat really, but eventually came up with the name Panda, the Fiat Panda, not named after the animal at all. It was named after a goddess, Panda. I think it was to do with travelling. I think it was the goddess of travel. And that's where they came up with the name in the end. There's also a Spanish version, the Fiat Panda, which later on became the Fiat Marbella. I'll just read to you, if I may, Giugiaro's description of how he came up with that design at the time. He said, the Panda is like a pair of jeans. A simple, practical article of clothing, without pretense. I tried to give it the essential quality of a military design. In particular, a helicopter. Something light, rational and optimised for a specific purpose. And yeah, that is that design principle of being very, very rationalised and very simple. A vehicle to do a simple job, if you will. I suppose very similar to previous small Fiats that came before it. It was really a replacement for the 126, although Ploski Fiat, Fiat Poland carried on making that Fiat 126 at the same time that the Fiat Panda was being produced. But in reality, this was supposed to be the replacement for it. We're going to look at some brochures today, the UK brochures from 1982. We'll show the Fiat Panda and also the other Fiats in the range at that time, just to show you how that fitted in. So we'll have a look at them now. Okay, so we have the Fiat range in small bite-sized brochures, if you will. Pretty much the brochures if you went to the Fiat dealership in 1982. These are the brochures you would have picked up. Firstly, the top of the range, the Fiat Argenta, the flagship of the range. The large Fiats were really never very popular in the UK, and I must admit you didn't really see many even at the time. Lower down the range you've got the Fiat Mirafiore or Fiat 131. I seem to remember a few rust issues on these particular ones, but quite collectible now. Then you've got the Fiat X19, the small two-seater mid-engine sports car, which really influenced cars like the Toyota MR2. Down the range further you had the Fiat Strada, built by robots was always I used to remember it was advertised at the time. And then we finally get to our brochure of the day, the Fiat Panda. So without further ado, let's open this Fiat Panda brochure up and see what's inside. Okay, so here is that Fiat Panda brochure. This is obviously the Series 1, the brochure from 1982. It only just arrived in the UK in 81, so a very early example. And you can see this sort of like radiator grille just about being on just one side of the car. The handles being very basic, no real handles, just kind of like a grab, but it did help with the aerodynamics, and considering it was such a boxy design, the aerodynamics weren't too bad, to be honest. Anyway, let's open it up because it really shows the design philosophy when you do open this brochure up. The seats are very, very functional. Yes, they are extremely basic, but that's part of the design philosophy. It had a parcel shelf which was removable. You could then fold back the rear seats to make a lot of space. You could even remove the rear seats to make it almost into like a van type vehicle. And remember, with it being such a boxy design, it was very suitable for moving things around. It went one stage further where you could flatten the seats even further to make kind of like two bed type areas. And then still further still, with the rear seat being made into this V shape. It's saying it is perfect to carry bags and bottles in there. I suppose any sort of awkward shape, it did help carry them. So overall, a very functional vehicle. The gauges were extremely simple, and it even says in the description there that it's all simplicity itself. It was a basic vehicle at a basic price. On the back page, it's showing the specifications. The engine for this UK version was a 903cc. That would have come from a Fiat 127. The first Italian ones also came up with a 652cc two-cylinder engine that would have been lifted straight from the Fiat 126. Fuel economy on this UK one, extremely good. It's showing a maximum speed of 87 and a 0 to 60 of 18.6 seconds, so certainly a slow car at the time and pretty much a tortoise compared to today's cars, but it was still getting 55.4 miles per gallon at a constant 56. It was an economical, functional car at a low price, and it really did the job. It was a clever little car for little money, really. As with most Fiats at the time, rust was an issue, although I think these kind of like lasted a lot better than some of the larger Fiats. Thank you so much for watching Quarterline. Let me know what you think about the Fiat Panda in the notes. It did soldier on till 1986, and indeed in 1983 there was a four-wheel drive version, which was apparently particularly good. A lot of the ski resorts used them in Europe because they were so good in the snow. Kind of like a versatile car, became even more versatile. There were further generations after this, but I think this is the favourite of them all for myself. But let me know what you think in the notes there. But that's the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you're able to. That would be great. And we'll see you soon for more brochures and more reviews. Goodbye.